Alright, in order to solve this problem, I'm first going to get rid of this 3 in the denominator, so I can rewrite the first part as 2 to the x minus 2 to the negative x equals 12. Okay, the idea here is that I eventually kind of want to be dealing with the same bases. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to rewrite this as 2 to the x minus 2 to the x to the negative 1 equals 12. The reason I did this is now I have the same base here and here. Remember that an exponent to an exponent, you multiply and that would still give you negative x. And now I'm going to bring my 12 to the other side. Alright, equals 0. Now, what I see here is that I have 2 to the x, 2 to the x, but this one doesn't have a 2 to the x. So what I'm going to do, in order to get 2 to the x, I'm just going to multiply everything by 2 to the x. So I'm going to have 2 to the x times 2 to the x minus 2 to the x times 2 to the x to the negative 1 minus 2 to the x times 12, and that equals 0. Now, let me show you something. If I had x cubed times x squared, what would you do? You would add your exponents, x to the 5th. So I have the same base here and the same base here. This gives me the same base 2 to the 2x. Are you okay with that? Okay, because you're adding x plus x. Minus, I have the base and I have the same base. Remember that this is like 1. So when you add 1 plus negative 1, you get 0. So I have 2 to the x to the 0 power minus 2 to the x times 12, and that equals 0. Alright, so here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Let's kind of simplify this. 2 to the 2x minus 1 minus, and I'm going to write the 12 out in front. I'll show you why. Equals 0. Now, I have 2 to the 2x, but over here I only have 2 to the x. I'm going to rewrite this as 2 to the x to the 2. Power to a power, you would multiply, so I really haven't changed anything. And then I'm going to write 12 to the 2x minus 1 equals 0. Now what I'm going to say is 2 to the x is like m. So what I have here is m squared minus 12m minus 1 is equal to 0. Alright, so ideally I would want to factor this, but it doesn't factor. So all I can do is say m is equal to, and I'm going to have to use a quadratic formula, negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 12 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 1 all over 2 times 1. Remember, this is really negative 12 quantity squared. So m is equal to 12 plus or minus square root of 144 plus 4 all over 2. So m is equal to 12 plus or minus 148 over 2. M is equal to 12 plus or minus, and I can simplify that, and it ends up as 2 to the square root of 37 over 2. Now, since I have all 3 of these, and all 3 of these have to be reduced or simplified by the same number, so m equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 37. Remember that we're looking for x. So what was m? M was really 2 to the x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 37. Okay, so what do we do to find x? Well, I'm going to do log base 2 of 6 plus or minus the square root of 37 equals x. Now I remember that the number in the middle right here can never be negative. Well, the square root of 37 is more than 6, so I can't use the minus part. So then log base 2 of 6 plus the square root of 37 is equal to x. In order to figure out what this is, I'd have to do log of 6 plus the square root of 37 over log 2, and that gives you x. So then x equals 3.594.